Hello and welcome back. My name is Hussam Eddin, or simply you can just call me Sam. Today I'm going to keep working and upgrading a project have been requested on my channel. It's called OpenAI Assistant API. I made this video a while ago when the Assistant API came out. I made it like in 3 days, if I can remember correctly. It was just a simple API wrapped around the OpenAI, and I explained how you can talk to it using Next.js. But people requested in a comment in the chat of LinkedIn that I should continue building a front end on top of this API. So here I am doing what we are going to do in this video is step by step from connecting to the API using a state management and creating front end to deployment on the Vercel host, which is the free host of Next.js that you can get, like you can deploy for free. We are not using an Express in the backend or Nest or something cool like that, because if we did, we will not be able to deploy on Vercel. This is the most annoying part about Vercel, that you only deploy Next.js and you have to use their backend, and it's kinda, I won't say it's the best. Anyway, we're using one of the best state management out there for React. It's called Redux Toolkit. As a full stack developer for 6 years in professional and 9 years in total, I have always went for the library that will make you write less code and do more, which is basically productive for us. This library will handle a lot of us, like talking to the API, handling the state, if error or loading or fetching, if success, all the stuff is done by it. And it's super simple to understand and to create and to use. So without further ado, let's jump inside our code. Continuing working on the code from the last video, hopefully you have seen it, the structure of the app have grown because we had to add Redux, add style, add components, add the pages. I'm gonna walk you through it. So to break it to you before we start, the Redux always have this slice. We have here the slices for assistant and one for data, which is a full file uploading, messages, and the slices for the chat. When we're working with the slices, we always have two kind of functionality. This functionality, it's called endpoint. Endpoint is either a mutation or a query. Like let's take a look at the assistant. We either have a query here or a mutation. A mutation is always something like post, delete, update, okay? And the query is always a get. What we are doing here in the query or the URL of the mutation, we pass the API that we want to invoke or talk to. And we pass the method and the body, which are data, okay? And here, this is how we basically turn this endpoint function here to a usable function for our front end. We here have, for example, delete assistant. It become use delete assistant mutation because a mutation, and we here have this rule to call it use delete assistant mutation. And for example, use lazy get all assistant query. It's the name explain itself. It's basically go and get all the assistant list for us from OpenAI. It's here. Get all assistant. It's talk to assistant list. Okay. And provider tags, basically the chat. It's where I store the states inside Redux. Let's look how we can use this function, use lazy get all assistant query inside our front end, so you can understand how simple it is to use for the entire project. Inside the assistant select, we can, inside the assistant create select JS component, we can get this function by basically import it from the file that is inside. Super easy until now. Then we always do that. We create an array for the function because we're gonna extract stuff from it. First thing, always the function that we will invoke is a create, delete, post, whatever. It's always the function that we will invoke. We're gonna pass the data to or take the information from. Then the second It's the object. This object have the entire state of the current API that we're invoking. And the object always have the state that we currently, the function have. Is it a response, the data that's coming back here? Is it a success? The state of is false or true? Is loading false or true? Is it an error, false or true? And if it's an error, is true. What's this error? There is also, I think, is fetching and is initialized. But I didn't use these two, honestly. I'm not using most of the stuff, but you can utilize it. It's simple. You just have to create a conditional rendering for basically is loading, and using is success is a conditional also. Like here, when the response come back, make sure if it's a success, then set the response inside the state. We always do that. That's it. That is it for Redux. There is one step that we have to basically able to access the state is just to pass the entire slices to a file called store. I'm getting all the slices. Doing the same thing, you can just copy paste it from me or like look to the Redux documentation. Assistant slice, the reducer bash, which is the reducer of the Redux of toolkit, and the middleware. Bam. We bash the entire store to one file that will be able to put the entire values inside our app, which is the layout. It used to be called app.js in the later version, but this is a new version. We give it something called a provider from React Redux, which the bridge between Redux and React, and we bash the entire store to it. Now we can continue looking to our components inside this project. With the project up and running, we will find two simple pages, but they are doing a lot. The first one is the chat, which we will talk to our threads over here and see our messages, run the threads, create new chats, and send messages. And the second one is the assistant page. Inside this page, it's like a mini dashboard that I have made that you can select which assistant the project, select which assistant the user can talk to. I thought about it, like if the user should create its own assistant, and then I started to think that is kind of weird because most of people that using API assistant not giving the user the ability to create assistant, but like you can do that also because I already have made the code for it. Here we can select which assistant the user can talk to, get the info about it, like the assistant ID, when have been created, the name of the assistant, what model it use, the instruction, the tools, and the file. And uploading files, of course. What makes an assistant good or bad is the amount or the quality of the data that you feed it to. Basically the PDF or the CSV file that you upload. Finally, creating an assistant. Here you can select the name and the instruction and the file that you want to feed to your assistant and just hit create. All the stuff is like I'm not selling it to you, it's for free. You can get it on GitHub, link in description. And I'm gonna show you how also you can deploy it on Vercel by the end of this video. So let's look out or inside the code and see how you can build on top of it. I got my project up and running by writing npm run dev. I'm not using anything except Next.js as a backend, as I said so. So refreshing the structure, we had an API folder that had assistants inside the roots and the logic of our assistants. It's the same for data and the messages and for threads. Like I have the creating and I have here basically the entire logic of assistants and the threads inside here. Threads is like the chat. Like when you go to ChatGPT, you will find on the left the chat. That's it, the thread. So let's look at what is new. We have new folders, one for Redux, which is inside it the slices. The slices is the name of the state that we talk to our API. This is all we have to write to get a lot of power in terms of our front end. We give it a Redux path, like what is the name of the slice, and I call it assistant. The base URL is the API of our folder, basically here. And inside it, we need to access the assistant, which is the name of the folder, and whatever function that we need to basically talk to, our API. In my case, I'm talking to the list here. I'm creating a query. We have a mutation, basically the running assistant, and we have the create assistant, and get assistant is also a query, and delete assistant. Okay. Then here, your type, there is a certain way of typing this kind of stuff, but there is a plugin that you install, Redux Toolkit, for the Visual Studio Code. Do that automatically for you. You write what you want. There is difference between use lazy get assistant query and use lazy get assistant query. The use lazy get assistant query, it's allow us to do more, like basically get loading, get success, get error, all the stuff, and we can control it more. It starts with the slice, then the stores, and the provider, and the provider passes it to the entire app. Okay. Now let's talk what pages that we have. We only have these two pages, but there is a lot of component here. The first one is the main page, which says chat. There's two main components inside it, the messages and the sidebar. The sidebar have the threads, which is a chat, continue chat, and the messages have two main components. The messaging prompt, which the box that we send message inside here, and the second one here is the place that we can see our message inside. So the messages prompt is very simple. It requires a thread ID, the chat ID, and the message list that we have. And inside it, you will find just a text array. Here, I did an auto resize, so when you write more, the text will grow with you. And the chat was different because I have rules inside the messages, one for the user and one for assistant. So when we talk to this assistant, our icon will be this U, basically the user, and this is our message. When the assistant response, it will be this green and have it's an assistant. So let's try to talk to it and see what will happen. How are you today? It's a simple but it's dumb question. As you can see, this is our text. How are you doing today? If you want to invoke it, you have to hit run, and it will get us the response back. As an artificial intelligence, don't have feelings or state pain. It's annoying, I know, but like I just wanted to show you that you can send messages, get the information from the assistant, then send the message, get the assistant message, and that's basically it. There is minor stuff like not, I will say it's good. Right now you can't get this stream of data like ChatGPT do. When you respond, you get this kind of messages. Let me show you what I mean. When, let's say, the same message, how are you doing today? You can't get this stream of data, okay? You can't. It's not created yet on the OpenAI, it's not supported. And also I found that the threads here, you can get it in one API. What I did, every time I create a new thread, I keep it safe inside the storage. Here, I will show you how it's done here. Like I have all the threads, chat, keep it inside here. And also the files. And also the assistant that have been selected, I keep it here. But to be honest, this is temporarily solution. If we're going to scale it, we must have a database and store everything inside this database. For some reason, I have no idea why, like the assistant API, if you go to the reference and the threads over here, you don't get like retrieve threads, you only get retrieve thread. I don't know if they missed it on purpose, or does this like so people don't see the entire chat for one assistant I mean, like, if I'm creating this, honestly, I can see the entire threads, because if my users creating the threads on my platform, I keep it on a database, and I can acquire the thread ID and send it here, and I can get the chat. It's weird, but it doesn't matter. It's beta. It will change in the future, maybe in a coming release. So let's go back to Assistant. And here you can create a new thread. Here it's have been created for us. When you click it inside the code, it gets selected and try to fetch the messages, but there is no messages here, so it's empty. I can add on top of this, I can add on top of this something called the meta here in the the thread. There is no name, like you can pass it like a name, just a list of messages, that's it. But there is the metadata. I think the metadata can be used to name a thread, like a chat, like ChatGPT do, and give it like some sort of information more, but it's weird that there is no name here. Anyway, we can do that by ourselves in the future. And that's it. That's basically it. Let's look at the code. Here we have the messages that we get it from the parent component, which is the messages component over here. This is handle a lot of code for us. Let's take a look at the code logic behind this chat. We have the messages component over here, which is the parent for the entire right side of this page. Okay, it have this use lazy get messages query, which I'm getting from the message slice. I can explain that Redux slices do a lot of us. All you have to do to create a function here and get this array and name the function that you want to create, then message the object that have this same thing every time. A data, name of the data, success, loading, the error, and what's the name of the error, or what the is text of the error. And that's it. But now you can invoke this function by passing the data that we want, which is the third ID, so I can get the messages. And in response, here I created this use effect, which basically asynchronous function. When it's done and the response is back, I put this inside a state, and I send the state to the messages chat, basically, so to the list of the chat that we have here, and it will do the rest of us, display it like this. And if we are running a thread, this is just one button, do a two thing, the loading in terms of the run is loading. As the same thing, it is just a function. We pass it an array and an invoke function and an object with the name of the state that it have. One for success, one for loading, one for data, and one for error, and one for the error message itself. I'm not using all of it, honestly. I'm using only the loading part because that is kind of cool. You can expand on this type of stuff. Like right now, I'm not using the response correctly. I can build on top of it. Basically, what I can do after the response have been given to me, I can once more fetch the messages, which will get the entire message in the state and the entire message once more for us. And that's it for chat. One more part is the other part of this page is the left part, which is just a sidebar. It has two main functionality: displaying all the threads and selecting the threads and creating a new chat or a new threads. Let's take a look at it. The sidebar is it do more, honestly. I did something with it, but I didn't keep it, which is I did pass the assistants list to it, as the people can see it. Like if you go to sidebar, I have this commented functions. If we did it here, like removed it, and let's see what will reflect. Like here, you can actually select which assistant that you want to basically use. And I thought about it like I can allow the user can basically select which assistant that he want to create a chat for. But then I felt that it's kind of weird, like it's that the user should not be able to do that. So I did comment it out. What inside our thread? There is one component very important, the threads component, which do two things: selecting the thread and displaying the messages and creating a new one. Here it's do a lot of functionality, but it's also very simple. Handle creating thread. Guess what it do? It create a thread. Same thing. It's a function that we get from the slice of the thread in Redux. It's just an endpoint function. We get it. It's the same thing. Also an array with an invoke function, and then we pass the object with the name of the state that we want to use, and do the logic for it. Only here I'm doing more logic. I will explain it line by line. Don't worry. When we get the thread is created successfully, we get the storage thread array that we have in the application here. Okay, and we parse it, basically turn it from a text to a JSON, and then we use this new response for the threads and add it to the threads list that we have. But before that, I check on the response and I make sure there is no duplicates in terms of IDs or null, and I remove it from the list. Then I update the list and set it to back to storage right here. And then I update the state of the threads. If there is anything going wrong, I just print this error. Like just this error for us, not for the user. Here, this thread is just done a loop on top of the list item that we have. It have a functionality that will do set the selected thread. I am passing this from the parent component, which is the thread sidebar I'm getting from the props. You can pass any props that you want to your components and get it here and use it from the parent component, which is the sidebar over here, like here. And we getting this also from the parent component, which is the page. That's it. This is the page of the assistant. This is the page of the chat. Let's take a look at the assistant page. The assistant page have three main components. The assistant selection, which select the information about the assistant and which assistant the user can have or use, upload file, and the creation of the assistant. It's just an F-var. I'm using Bootstrap. I failed to mention this in the beginning of the project. I'm using Bootstrap because it's simple. If you're using React, you must have used Bootstrap at least one. I'm not using Tailwind. I'm not using Material. I'm not using the new space style of MetaX, basically the new library for style that have been made by Facebook to React. I wanted to use it, but I know it's have to be able to sit down and learn this. I'm sticking to the basic as much as I can. So the assistant select made a lot of state here in the main component or the parent component and pass it to the children component. Assistant select have what you think about when you want to select an assistant. A state to set the selected assistant, retrieve the information and display it. The information we get it from the array of the assistant. Like here, we have this component assistant select. We pass to it the states that we have here in the parent component, and inside the assistant select, we will see this logic. It's get the all assistant query, a function, and once again from Redux that I have created that will get all the assistant that we own, and then when it get back, if you think about it, when it's success using effect, we set this list. Okay, and I invoke this get all on the beginning of the page, and then if there is a local storage assistant, I invoke it, then I set the states of it, and it's same thing for files. So I can get the files. Then here, handle change assistant, which basically when the user when R basically selected here, we select a new one, train coach and the math tutor. you will see the data cell change here, and also you will go to the assistant application. You will see it's have been changed, like math tutor, like it's super fast here. Training coach. Let's go back. One more. It have been changed. Training coach. This is just to change from here to and I set it over here. So the user can, in this chat, when you're creating a new thread, he will be able to fetch the ID and create a new thread with it. Then we display the basic information. I know that's like, it's not a lot of information. It can be improved, like the created ad and formatted to a readable format, like day, months in the year. Then we have the upload file. It's just a simple functionality that do one thing for us, uploading a file. And when the upload file is done, also I save it in a local storage. I check it's null if there is a list of the storage is null, and if there is a duplicate, I remove it once more. Then I set the new files list inside the storage. And finally, the creating of the assistant. The creating of the assistant require 3 inputs. This one is optional. We don't need it. We need an instruction to tell what to tell the user to tell the OpenAI what we need to do with it, and the name of the assistant. And here in the selection of the files, we get this from the assistant component. We pass it to the parent, which is this page. Then we get it here, and we can select whatever file that we want. Okay. As when we hit to create, let's look at to the logic. These 3 input. The first one is name. The second one is the instruction. The third one is the drop menu for the selection, and the button for create. Here I have a simple logic also. Same Redux Toolkit. We can get to this array, pass it an object with the names, have here update assistant state. This function I have created that will take a key and a value. The key and the value of each input. Like here, the key is name, the value is the target value of the input. And with it, I am setting, updating the state of the parent component here. As you can see, both the state have the 3 values. Otherwise, I have to create 3 different states, which is kind of weird, but like this is I will say in productive, this is better. One for name, one for instructor, one for file ID. Back to the creation. Handle the submitting assistant. We check if there is a name or instruction. If it's not, we don't do anything. Then we create a form data, pass the assistant name and the instruction and the file ID, then invoke the creation function by passing the data to it. And if the assistant have a response, we also get the assistant item, parse it, add the new assistant to the list of the assistants, and then we get the new assistant inside the storage over here. We can actually not use that, just update the assistant here, or basically not use it at all. That's it. We have did the entire project. It's not a big project, but it required a lot of time, honestly, to create the front end and create the Redux and set it up and running, and trying to figure out how I can manipulate the threads. And that's it. That's basically the main logic of it. You can use it as a boilerplate. You can build on top of it. You're free to do what you want with it. You can take the component out. It's for free. And now we will do the deployment on Vercel. First thing that we wanted to mention in the env file, not this one. This one is just an example. The real one, I'm not gonna click on it. I have the key. Make sure that you remove your key from here, because you are going to upload it on GitHub first. And I don't like to have a keys inside GitHub. A lot of people had this bad story about someone who accessed the GitHub repo, took the key, and used it inside their project and cost a real owner a lot of money. So before we start, I need you to go to your GitHub, create a new branch, and upload your project to here. In my case, I have already uploaded like 2 months ago, so it's already there. I can't do it again. And then go to your project, remove the key, for love of God, don't forget this, and then do the bushing. In my case, the first thing that you can do is git add dot, so you add the files, then git commit -m -m, so you can say something about this branch, then git push to whatever branch I'm pushing to the main. There's also another way you can do this, is using GitHub desktop. Yep, you can basically use it to push the entire code to GitHub without typing anything, but I'm using the CLI. Right now we can go to Vercel, create a new account using the GitHub. Don't use Google, don't use anything, just use GitHub. It's easy for us to get access to the repos that we have. First thing that we will do, we go to vercel.com/dashboard. You will see this. First thing that we're gonna select is the import project. This is gonna import a repo from a GitHub. Click import, select the account that you have. If you have multiple accounts, I just have Codewillo and the company I work for and my own account. Then select the repo that you want to work with. In my case, I have Assistant API, which I created with Next.js, and Alima. Alima is the project that I have created. It's a PDF chat with your PDF project. I sell it on Gamma Road. It's already sold like twice, I think. Anyway, import. We give it a project name, and you can call it whatever what you want here. It doesn't matter. This is the root directory. Here is the environment variable. This point is very important. We're gonna go to your environment file, put the open API key, and here put the value, right? Like remember, always put the value. And here there is the preset. We have different kind of environment that we can use to deploy, but I'm not gonna change anything because this is automatically detected. The root directory is of course the same directory, unless you change it by yourself, which I don't think it's a good idea. Here in environment, copy paste the environment, put the key over here and add. I'm gonna do it myself. Then deploy, hit deploy. This will take a while because the deployment is for free, so it's not that super fast. Let's see how it will work. I will gonna come back after it's done and can basically see my entire project. Yeah, done. Right now it's done. It took me 2 errors to fix, but it was like minor errors. I forgot stuff that I should removed. And it tell me that my domain, custom domain, is over here. Let's see how it's look. Yeah, by the way, every time that you deploy to your GitHub repo or push something new to the main source of the branch, Vercel will automatically rebuild and redeploy the project. So you don't have to redeploy every time. That's done automatically for you, which one of the best thing that basically Vercel have. Let's go to chat, see everything is working. Let's see. It's not getting the... Yep. Okay, if we created a new chat, it will not create it. Yeah, it did create one. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's go to see the assistant. Right now I have project ideas. Yep, it's working. Nice, yes, boys, we did it. We can upload from here. See that I don't have any file because I didn't upload from here. This is what I talked about, the issue of database. The next step I think in this project, if you want me to continue, first thing, I need more likes. I am holding this project as a hostage. I need more likes and more subscribers. I am almost at 500 subscriber, and we are getting very close to the 21k, I think, in terms of views. Very soon we will achieve that, so please hit the like and subscriber, please. And second thing, I can add more stuff to this project. It's not difficult for me. Like, we can build a database around it, do some sort of authentication, one for user, one for the one for the owner, which us, and like scale it a little bit and deploy it also on Vercel. So that's it, up and running on Vercel, done and done. I really hope that you enjoy learning on this project. This project actually, this kind of project is very important because the upcoming wave of requirement in web development and machine learning, it will be about how to can integrate the OpenAI assistants and the OpenAI APIs inside your project. Because first, it's cheaper than to create your own model. Second, it's widely popular, and third and smart, people need it. Like, the amount of apps there around about OpenAI doing the same thing is insane. Hope you learn a lot in this video. And if you have any questions, please hit me on the chat. I think I can create either a Discord server or a Telegram server for us to talk about this kind of stuff. And finally, I hope that you keep on learning, keep on understanding this kind of tech, and gain more knowledge and be better. The coming videos is going to be about Hugging Face. I'm gonna create a mini crash course about Hugging Face and how you can use it and deploy stuff on it, and how many free models on it. And then I'm gonna create a bigger project called the RAG. It's a new method of how how large language model like OpenAI or Llama or or Llama to integrate the datasets inside them without uploading dataset to it. Like, basically how you can fetch data from outer source, put it in Llama large language models, and get the results. And if you like this video, please hit a like, and thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing, wink wink, and ciao for now.